The fields are blazing as the dry thatch of blue stem grasses burst into flames. But this fire was planned and carefully managed. To learn how and why, we talked with the property owners, conservationists Sally and Ian Bund.
Well, we've quickly understood after we purchased this land, and we're not farmers, so we found wonderful partners who have farmed the land over the last 20 years. But it quickly came to us that you don't just hold a piece of property, you have to steward it. You have to take care of it and keep it in a very healthy condition. And knowing that we had this beautiful view from here and that the whole community loved it, it was more than just ours in a way. People would come down the road, tell us how much they loved it. They even would stop and knock on our door and thank us for saving it, because everyone comes down this road. Everyone could see what was going on and then the aftermath of our saving it.
Saving the historic Angell Farm involved interrupting a developer's plans to build 20 new houses on the 80-acre parcel. Then they worked with the Little Traverse Conservancy to create a conservation easement to protect the farm's incredible views of Little Traverse Bay and Lake Michigan forever. Here's the Conservancy's Derek Shields.
So conservation easements are legally binding agreements between the landowner and the easement holder, like us. And these easements restrict some of the uses and some of the rights of a landowner as a landowner. These can be anything from how many buildings can be constructed on a property, how many times the property can be split, any limitations to forestry or ORV use. The conservation easement that Ian and Sally Bunn set up identified the scenic value, the scenic panorama, and the natural character as those conservation values. And those were the reasons that they as landowners and we as the easement holders entered into that contract, that easement.
Unfortunately, disturbed open ground in northern Michigan can be overrun by invasive species. One of the most pervasive and harmful invasive plants is known as spotted knapweed.
Over the years, when we saw this terrible spotted knapweed encroaching on our hayfield, and a local farmer who was haying it for his own animals said, "You know, I can't take this hay. This is mostly spotted knapweed." We said, "What?" We started to learn about it, and we got involved with a invasive species specialist, Vern Stevens from downstate, mid-state, who helped us develop a management plan for the eradication of the knapweed and the planting of native grasses. So in a way, it was called a native grassland installation. And over 4 or 5 years now, we have carried through with the plan, first getting rid of the knapweed and then planting the native grasses. Little blue stems in the north field and big blue stems in the west field, hoping to encourage the return of native butterflies, bees, birds, and just the good feeling that we're trying to keep this the 19th century farm that it started out being.
One tool for keeping native grasslands healthy and warding off new invasions of spotted knapweed is controlled or prescribed burning. The burn removes the buildup of thatch and releases nutrients back into the soil, encouraging new growth of native grasses.
The burn was kind of the next step in this restoration plan to deal more intensively with the invasives. And what happened, the burn was on 30-some acres of the property, and the burn specialist managed to deal with about 70% of the space. And that was the most practical way of getting there and the most ecologically friendly. So now what will happen is the residue from the burn, the carbon, will now mix with the soil and be a great source of encouragement for the grasses come next April.
When you think about what we do here on Earth, and sometimes you wonder, what are we doing here? Somehow that feeling that after we're gone, this will stay as it is. And you can look at any map of Michigan, of the Great Lakes system, or even of the globe, and you can see that little corner where Little Traverse Bay empties out into the big lake. And on that little corner at 7 Mile Point, I can put a pin on that any day of the week and know that that will be saved.